Hello, everyone. Welcome to another book review. I am Favor.
And I'm Goodness.
So, today we're going to be reviewing an eye opening book, and also it's a story. It's a very interesting one. The title alone will intrigue something in you to keep reading. Bitten by the Devil by Lester
Sumrall.
Sumrall.
Sumrall, everyone.
Alright.
Okay.
So this book is actually a very small book, or it is a story about a girl,
A real life story.
a real life story, not fiction. You'll be like, oh, it's a story. Maybe it's just someone saying something and trying to make us excited, but it's actually a true life experience with many witnesses to
Yeah.
testify about the incident that really occurred.
Yes. So before we go into the lessons we learned from this book, let me give you a quick summary
Of the
the
story.
story. So there was this young girl, her name was Clarita, and she was 18 years old. So she was in she was in jail rather for vagrancy, but that's not her concern. The problem
She was
is that
falsely accused, right?
yeah, she was falsely accused, but the case or the story behind her testimony is the fact that one day she was just sitting down on her bed in her jail, and then all of a sudden her inmates were just like, no, it's not like they were just like everybody was carrying out normal activities,
Yeah.
and then someone that's sitting on the bed, sure you are supposed to be relaxed,
Yeah.
but she just pointed at the wall and started, you know, this shrieking, exactly. You know, this facial expression you have when you are seeing something that is so
Scary.
horrifying. So that's how she was, and from there she started screaming, and to show you how bad the demonic oppression was, she was screaming so loud that they were hearing it outside the jail. And after her screaming, after her rolling on the floor, and after everything, she pointed to her hand and they saw a bite.
Visible.
A visible bite. Like,
Actual
you know,
mark.
the way somebody, two children will be fighting now, and then one will bite the other one, and you see the mark on her hand. They actually saw a mark of a bite on her hand. And to show you how real it was, there was saliva on the bite. And to show you how bad
The
again
blood
that
was
it
coming
was,
out.
blood was coming out of her hand. To show you how bad again the oppression was, the teeth that beat her was not
The usual.
incisors
Yeah.
like we have in our mouth. It was round. It was a very horrifying experience. Nobody could go close to her at first because we've never seen this kind of thing. How would somebody just sit down, then you start shouting, then
At
before
first,
you
they
know,
even thought that she was the one biting
yes, they thought
herself.
she was the one biting herself. But after it happened several times, like it happened very many times.
Many
they were
observations.
Many observations. And even the reason why they were able to observe it is the fact that another of the times where it happened, her hands were together. Like she was lying down and then she just woke up from coma and just started shouting again that the devil is here already, the devil is here. And the way she described the devil, very horrifying being. There's
Not even one, two.
Two, yes, one tall one and one short
small
one. And they were inflicting these bites on her. It was so bad that after everything, you will see the saliva dripping, you will see blood dripping. And this little girl was in pain. The whole experiences were so reoccurrent that it goes to the president of the country.
Nobody could help her.
Nobody could help her. They brought doctors, they brought journalists, they brought clergymen. In fact, it got to a point where the fathers, the Roman Catholic Church, they refused to come and see her because they were like, we've never heard of this kind of thing before. Something we have never heard of before, that is never in the Bible. How are we now going to approach it? So one day during newscasting, somebody was like giving reports on TV, and then it was on radio. So Lester Sumrall was in his house and he was just listening to the news, and then all of a sudden he heard, if you know you don't have mind, I'm rephrasing now, if you don't have mind to carry bad news, just put off your radio. I know that as human beings, when you hear that kind of thing, that's when you want to be interested. Exactly. So he was interested, and then he heard the story of how a young girl in the prison has been shouting for a long time now, and then after her series of affliction, they will see bites on different parts of her body, and how it was very bad. And as a man of God, let me not just say man of God, as a true child of God that he was, the first thing he did was to swing into intercession. For somebody that he doesn't know, this man started crying and praying and just asking God to deliver her. And trust God now. You know, God has very, I don't want to say very weird instructions, but God can give somebody instructions that will make it to wonder, God, why did I even pray for this person in the first place? So God, after praying, God now told him he should go to the prison and go and pray.
The way God even said it was that according to him, paraphrasing now,
Mm.
he said, God say, if you don't go, how will I deliver? Something like that. And I'm like, eh? So God been dey wait for you. Say.
Exactly.
So I'm really waiting for me to pray this prayer when you tell me
deliver the
this thing to
girl.
go and deliver
And to
her.
show you how that God even worked in this situation, Leicester did not have any connection because it was a city jail. And you know that before you can enter jail, one or two officials have to know.
Yeah.
Exactly. And this man is just an ordinary man. So God just opened the way, opened the way, opened the way, opened the way, and he could get access to this Clarita, to this young girl.
Yeah.
And when he got there, as he was even entering there, the
Fear.
fear entered his mind because they had not even gotten to where the girl was. The demon came and started tormenting her again.
The whole place was just so scary.
Exactly.
He said the entrance, the way it was, I'm like,
and
how demon yes. Go? And funny enough, she got it in the jail. It's not like she was.
It's not like somebody came to like.
But it's just that she was open. She was
open to demonic attacks. That's another story entirely. But then, when he was entering the prison, as a sensitive Christian that he was, he just sensed that the atmosphere was dark.
Yeah.
That there were demonic forces in that place that people could not see. And so when he got there, you know, this is somebody that has been praying. When he got there, he prayed and prayed and prayed. Shock you, the demon did not go anywhere. In fact, the demon was even talking to the girl that Leicester should go away, otherwise they'll do something
to him. I hate you.
Exactly.
I hate you.
First thing, I hate you. You have never seen me before. You are saying you hate me. That's when he knew that, okay, this is the demon talking through the girl. And so he prayed. And mind you, as he was praying the first time, there were journalists, there were policemen,
nothing happened.
Nothing happened though. The girl, you know, this kind of thing. I don't know if I've ever prayed for somebody. Me, I'm not saying I've prayed for somebody like this kind of bad case before, or if you have ever seen maybe on TV and you see a man of God praying for stubborn demons, you will notice that sometimes when you're praying for a demon, they'll just sit down like this. They can't even picking their names and be doing as if they don't send you.
How is even funny? What she did was that first time when he went after much prayer, much this, that, she felt like she was
yes,
she was calm. So people, normally they know that when she's going to come out, she is not herself, like she is not normal again. But that they saw like a little
she just lie down
and they were like, okay, it seems like she had been delivered. He said no.
Yes, he had
the demon is not.
The demon is still there.
So
what he did, he just left. Like that very day, he just left and went back home, and that man entered fasting from day.
One major thing for me that I really got from this book is that one thing that the man exercises is spiritual authority.
Yes.
You remember when the demon came the first time? Talk. He cast him. That was after many years. He cast him out, and the demon came back again after leaving. It came back again.
That's after
say, what are you here for? He said, "You are the one that want me to go." Yeah, that means the demon knows. The demons acknowledge the authority he was operating from and on. So if we don't exercise our authority, certain things will not happen. So that's one basic thing that I got from the story. Is that he really exercised. Yes.
And another thing that I learned from the story is the fact that when he went the second day to go and pray for the young lady, this time around, he told the people that granted him access to the jail to send everybody out. And the reason he did that was because praying for the sick is not a show.
Yeah.
It's not something you do to prove to people that have the power of God. It's something that is very, very sacred. So by the time he did that the second day and prayed, even though he still prayed for long,
he surrounded himself too with the right people.
Yes, that's another thing. When you are handling or tackling spiritual issues that are beyond you, it's better to surround yourself with people that are thinking on the same frequency with you. Not policemen that are doubting whether God can heal the person, whether God cannot heal the person.
Or people that are here to say, hey, miracle worker, don't know.
Exactly. That's
most thing go do.
Most somebody that wants to give it the glory. So he told them that healing the sick is not a show. And at the end of the day, the girl was properly delivered.
Yeah, that's like one major thing. And another thing that stands out for me in this thing is his compassion. That despite all that happened, you know, the first day they even published a news on the newspaper that the pastor, they were calling the demon the teen because they were not so sure. They didn't have any name for it. They didn't know whether it's to call it the devil or the demon or whatever. They just gave it the title the teen. So that thing was doing a lot of things. And the first day when he returned home with no result, people were like, the pastor, there was a way they publish the news. You know the way headline used to be now that if you read it, your heart will cut. Boom, you'll be like, Jesus, have I been disgraced and all? He didn't want to go back, but compassion and certain things. And that's one thing. He really, for me, I would say, he exhibited what Jesus would do. So in every situation and in circumstances we see ourselves, no matter how difficult it is, when our motive is pure, we would always have that compassion in us that will make us to always stand for Christ no matter what. But it's when the for instance, if he had the motive of going there so that he can be known, because at that point he was the only Protestant, and there was a thing about Protestants then that they had against them. So him being in, that was the one major thing that made him not to have easy access at first. But God did his thing and he allowed him to go through it, because it was the time. Enough was, the thing was really too much. The girl was really going through a lot. And that was a big thing that made the whole people to give their life. Imagine the great testimony. That's why they was like, no matter the situation that happened, God will always glorify himself in that circumstances if is you allow it, if you allow him to use you as that vessel. So that's one thing that was like, wow, this is really wonderful for him to stand despite all. So it's a really good book and story that we can learn from.
And the last point I'm going to raise from this book is the fact that we would have not known this story if that man had not obeyed God. At best, it would have just ended at, okay, national
maybe she died.
Yeah, she died. But because of this thing that he did, like the testimonies that followed, because you should understand that it's not an easy thing. It's now that we're seeing that, okay, the girl was later healed though. It's not an easy thing for God to tell you, like, something like, what if I fail? Sometimes we know that it's God that's telling us to do something, but there's just this part of us that is like the
something that is even a national news.
Exactly. Like, what if I now reach there and now pray for the girl should not get well? You know, those kind of things. And even after he failed the first time, it was already on the news that Baba came to pray and he failed. But he still went again the second time. So sometimes obedience to God, it can open doors that we would never have been able to open if we do not obey.
The book is very dramatic and spiritual. It's something that will really push you to really have a good relationship with God.
Yes, and if you have been seeking God for the miraculous, I think you should read this book and read other books by Sumrall, because that man moved in the miraculous. So with this testimony, you self, you'll be able to believe that, okay, there's nothing I'm believing God for. What is headache that God cannot heal? Or what is cancer that God cannot heal? If God could heal somebody that was being bitten by devils and they were seeing the marks, you cannot see what is biting her, but you can see the visible. They can do any other thing.
Her face was even changing green
color. Yes,
like blood
was draining from her face. But
bro, I'm going.
Imagine God coming to say,
I can't.
Oh my goodness!
Can we just keep
God
going?
will help us. Exactly.
God is helping us. God will help us.
Yeah.
So we'll get there.
With that, we have come to the end of today's book review. If you've not read the book, just click the link in the description box and it will lead you to our Telegram page from where you can download the book. And after reading it, please come back and tell us what you learned from the book. Or if you have read the book before this review, just tell us the lessons you learned in the comment section. We'll be glad to hear from you.
See you in the next video.